gives you a closer look at the events that happened around Maine this week.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Cindy Campbell. This week I chatted with Sweeney, who is the co-founder with her husband, Ken, of Hope for Homeless. This amazing organization is dedicated to helping the homeless population of Greater Bangor. Ann shares with us the mission of her organization and the importance of remembering that they're not just homeless, but people deserving of dignity and hope. And start out by telling us how you and your husband began giving back, which eventually became Hope for Homeless.
6 years ago, near Christmas time, we were told Ken would probably not make it through chemotherapy. And they wanted us to know so we could be prepared. So as Ken would have his chemo treatment, he would have me read to him from Facebook, because back then he didn't do Facebook. And when I read TC's column from the Bangor Police Department, how about this downtown little shelter could use help at Christmas time with gift cards or socks and stuff like that. And Ken says, we can do this. I says, we can do what? Because I'm thinking of what the doctor had said. And so he had me go out and get like 45 pair of new socks. We got 45 $5 Dunkin' Donut cards and a little few hygiene items, granola bar. And we took them down. And then when I went in, I'm like, well, what do these people do Christmas Eve? Because I'm a family type of person. So we started a sub-party platter. And we were lucky. He beat the odds. But the doctor said wouldn't be possible. And so as we got out and about, we found out about Hope House. We found out about Shaw House. And then as it became spring, we started to see little tents. And then we found out about our outside homeless people. And that's when we started to get more involved. And each year, as we sit there and reflect, we used to operate out of our house. Then we operated out of a 5x5 storage unit.
Right.
And then we went big time. We thought we had a 10x10 unit. And now we have 5 10x20 climate-controlled storage units.
Wow.
And it's not enough. But that's how we help the shelters. We help case managers, all in Penobscot County, basically Bangor Brewer area. And we provide everything from food, clothing for the outside folks and for the inside folks. We stock up the, quote, pantries of the shelters, kitchens and stuff, because they might get like a couple 100 pounds of cheese with a government shipment, but they won't get any macaroni to make macaroni and cheese.
Right.
So we just started to fill in those cracks, and that's what we do.
You said you collect everything from food to clothing and everything in between. How do you distribute that to the homeless?
The shelters, each day, we're in contact with them. They call and say, like today, I need a gallon of vegetable oil. We need tomato sauce. Do you have any canned tomato? So what I just did is, yes, I put that in there. Obviously, the cook is going to be making either macaroni with tomato sauce or spaghetti. So I threw in a case of elbow macaroni. If they ask for creamer, sugar, especially this time of year, those are items we go through a lot. And we stockpile them. Case managers call me, which is through the case managers work in the field. They're working with the folks trying to get them to a shelter or find them a boarding room or an apartment. And they'll call, like today, there's a man in recovery. So we went the extra mile because he's going to be coming out in a few days, and they had his sizes. So he'll get a brand new pair of jeans, new pair of sneakers, the whole 9 yards. I threw in the winter coats. We gave him some boxer briefers, some winter underwear. But the thing is, that the sad thing is, when they come out of the hospital, 90% of the time, they don't get their clothing back. They're sent out with just a Johnny. And I can understand hospitals are so busy and so overwhelmed and so understaffed, but this is a piece of dignity. You or I were in the hospital, and they've lost our sweatpants and T-shirt. Your husband, my husband, or my significant other can go home and bring me something.
Right.
And the homeless community, they have no dignity left. You know, we're just trying to give them that piece of hope. Our homeless need dignity. They need their pride back. Cindy, they're human beings.
That's an excellent point. I think some people tend to, when they think of homeless, they think of, they're addicts or they're criminals or they're, whatever. But they're
excellent point. But
they're people and they're even families that are homeless.
Yes. Let's go back to alcoholics or the addiction. You and I, we might have a breakup. We might have lost our job. Or the whole day just came tumbling down.
Right. You
lost your job, your significant other left, or your dog went away. It sounds like a country western song, Cry My Beer music. But you and I can go home, and we can shut the door. And whether we choose to indulge in a few extra glasses of wine or beer or whatever, a weed, a joint, no one knows what you and I are doing behind closed doors. But basically, a lot of society is condemning these people because, oh, look, they're out in their tent, they're smoking, they're drinking. How many days could we stay homeless with no showers, no running water, no bathroom?
Right.
You can't even let the water run to brush your teeth. Do I use part of my bottle allotment today, or do I brush my teeth right?
Right.
You know, and what you and I do behind closed doors, our neighbors, our bosses, society doesn't know. But we condemn these people. And they're not, Cindy, they're not all addicts or alcoholics. Some are actually struggling. They're working. Some are working under the table. Some are working 2 or 3 jobs. But we come to the point of mental health is our number one. But 2, the lack of affordable housing.
Right. Right, because you don't just walk up and say, hey, I can pay you rent in 30 days. You've got to have a month's rent. You've got to have another month's rent for a security deposit. It takes a lot to get into a place.
And what if one of your children or someone special is very ill and you have to pay to get their medicine? Do I get medicine? Do I get food? What am I going to do? I can't afford the rent. We have seniors that couldn't afford the electricity and their rent increase.
Right.
They're living in their cars because they can't crawl into a tent.
Right, which could, in my opinion, could get worse this winter with the cost of heating oil.
Oh, heating oil and gas. How are our seniors going to stay warm? I went by the gas station today. It went up 10 cents yesterday. It went up another 10 cents last night.
Yeah.
You know, what despair are the seniors, the families, or people out there trying to stay warm in their cars because they can't afford. But gas goes up in 20 cents, and it's starting to save for the 3 months, the 2 months of deposit and the security deposit for apartments. And if they come up with it, is it available? And there's, there may be vouchers, but landlords aren't willing to take them. And we're trying to work with landlords because there's programs to protect the landlords. If they're working with a case manager in the shelters, there are programs to protect the landowners from damage and stuff coming out of their own pocket.
Right.
But so many people are in it for the bottom dollar, Cindy.
Yeah.
Wow, John Doe across the street's getting $1,500 for his dump. Why can't I get $1,200? I'm going to go up from $700 to $1,200 next month.
Yeah, yeah.
And they can get it, sadly. I mean, some of the rents I've been seeing, I'm like, Ken and I used to rent. We used to own. We used to rent. We've done it all. And I'm sitting there going, oh, my God, that house is renting for what? We paid half that 5 years ago when we moved to Bangor.
Right.
It's scary.
Yeah, it is. My son and his wife, actually, about a month before they got married, their apartment burned. And so they were essentially homeless, but they have a great community of family and friends that have helped them out, and they're doing okay. But it's a great example of how quickly it can happen to anyone. I mean, people may sit in judgment of homeless, but without realizing that they could be there pretty easily, easier than they think.
I was at a Hannaford. I happened to see an employee there trying to use her debit card. It wasn't working, and I looked at her, and I'm like, I think I know her, but I didn't want to say anything. So finally I stepped up, and she says, okay. And now the manager came over and says, I need to take this off. My debit card's not working. And I just said, hey, throw it in your basket. I knew this woman had children. I also knew she was homeless, but she's working. And I just went in my card. She said, I said, nope, I don't want to hear it. You'll do it sometime, maybe for me in a couple months. Don't worry about it, And I can't do that to everybody. But how many people are there are putting back? I mean, she had nothing in her bag. It was just a small bag. Nothing. There was no junk food. It was basic necessity.
Right.
Powdered milk. I wanted to go get her regular milk. But powdered milk, a box of cereal, toilet paper, the basics.
Yeah.
And they can't afford it. And she's working.
Yeah.
And she's only one out of probably thousands in our own state. I know it's a problem nationwide, Cindy, but it hits home here. Bangor became our town 7 or 8 years ago. We sold everything, and we were going to be snowbirds. 6 months in Florida, 6 months up here, and we were going to have a grand time, and life dealt us cancer. But you know what? We're still luckier than so much of the population we're trying to help. And we just fill in cracks. So it says, oh, you do everything. I said, no, we just fill in a crack where the need is. And it's not just Ken and I. We have over 3,000 villagers, we call them. And they're always dropping off food and clothing. But now we're getting to the crunch time. I mean, I'm sending out almost 200 food bags in November.
Wow.
This is unheard of. We were lucky if we sent out 200 in a month in November or December. And this is just for 3 days. And the time is coming, like, I've got to talk to some grant people again, because we thought once the pandemic was over and things got settled, whoever expected prices would go up so much.
Yeah.
I mean, our bags used to cost only $4 or $5 to put out, and now it's $6 to $7. And, thankful to Blue Triton, which was Poland Springs, they gave us an emergency truckload of water last week, almost 40,000 bottles. But man can't live on water alone, but at least they're getting clean water. And we hand that out to the shelters that do takeaway meals, churches that do takeaway meals for the homeless, and we do the case managers when they go in the field. They didn't question us because I just said, I know the pandemic's over. I haven't written a grant application, but we need the water again, and I'm so sorry to ask. And they approved it. And then they said, oh, by the way, before we ship it, could you do the grant application? But their staff was so in tune of how desperate. I had 6 flats of water left to last till May.
Wow.
There's no way we could buy it. But now we have almost 40,000 bottles. So we're all set for the winter.
Is it my imagination, or has the homeless population grown a lot over the last couple of years?
Oh, my God. It grew in the pandemic because people, sadly, other towns, other states send their homeless to other states or other cities. Bangor is pretty much the last stop. In the pandemic, we couldn't send people back, or people couldn't even go back because you couldn't go back for, you couldn't go back for that sort of thing.
Right.
So these people still here. Then inflation hit, summer hit, and once again, states again started to send more people. And I wish there's something we could do about it. I've talked to the city manager about it. I feel sorry for the city manager in the city of Bangor. But we went ahead, and these people are just still coming because everybody thinks, well, Bangor is going to take care of us.
Right.
Bangor, they'll find an apartment for us. Bangor will find food for us. And let's face it, it's November. Are we going to let these people freeze and stuff? But we can't find housing for folks. I have begged people who have written to us and saying, we're looking to get to Bangor. Where's the best place for us to go? Do not come. Do not come. Go to your city, ask for general assistance or whatever, but don't come to Bangor. You will be so far on the bottom of the list, especially when you get calls from Texas or Florida or California.
People who are not equipped for, not that it's easy for anyone to be outside in the winter in Maine, but if you're from Texas or Florida, being outside in the fall is going to be too much.
We had a couple of days this week that were in the 40s. People were begging for winter coats. And I drew a line. I do have winter coats. We have 14 or 15 bales of brand new winter coats. But we would not send them out because when you get a nice summer day, where are they going to put their winter coat? They have a tent maybe, but it's not going to fit in their backpack. So the stuff gets tossed, and then when it gets really cold, then like next week we'll probably start handing out gloves and stuff because we've been tight on them. But next week it's not supposed to get much above 40 most of the week. Right. But we have to judge it because, yeah, I know. Oh, dear, you're from Georgia. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's going to get worse. You can't have gloves or hand warmers yet. Yeah. And it's sad. I feel terrible. Last year I went to thaw twice. This year it's going to be a long winter. Our numbers have not gone down outside. They have not gone down. Usually by now we're below 100 outside people, and we're easily at 200. I haven't got the official count, but we're easily at 200 outside alone, Cindy.
Wow. And there just aren't anywhere near enough shelter beds for these folks, even if they would go into a shelter.
It's hard to get some of the people into it. I don't want to share a room. I don't want to follow rules. But I'm at the point now that if there is a shelter bed available and there's a good reason why that person won't go to the shelter, we might help with a tent. But if there's no reason just because I don't like sharing a room or I need my privacy, I respect that. But we can't afford to give you a tent because I have to feed 200 other people.
Right.
We're very tight on tents this time of year especially because we want them to get into the shelters. Look at Boyd at Bangor Area Homeless Shelter. His team is right on. Their housing navigator, the average stay for a homeless person there is 25, maybe 30 days now because of the lack of. But 25 to 30 days, that's all you have to do is to follow the rules and share a room before you get your own boarding room or you get your own apartment or maybe you'll go back home.
Right.
But and I don't know Hope House's exact numbers, but they're having successful placements. And this is why I say to everybody, and you probably, if you read our page, get a case manager, get a case manager, get a case manager. It's like a broken record.
Yeah.
Because they're going to get you in. Yeah, there are other, I'll call them do-gooders, but they're not going to get you your apartment. They're not going to get you on your way to success.
Right.
Bangor Area Homeless Shelter we started a program with them per their request that when they move into an apartment and they know it's going to work, we send them with an electric air mattress. This is all new. Everything in their welcome bag is new. A new, 8 or 10 inch twin mattress, all brand new bedding, pillows, blankets, whatever. Cleaning supplies, a dish, and all the silverware, spoon, cup, all of that goes, some toilet paper. Because let's face it, they're not going to be able to run down to the grocery store to buy toilet paper.
Right.
But just simple things like that. We have those bags. When the navigator, Wendy, calls us, she says, hey, we have 2 people that are on the next to move, so we got 2 kits down to her. I just made them up and sent them down.
Awesome. So for people who are listening, Ann, and would like to help with your cause, what can they do? How can they help out?
What we're desperate for now is money. We're Hope for Homeless on Facebook. Message us, and then we'll start a line. They can then get my phone number. They can do PayPal, Facebook Pay, snail mail, or if there's a company out there or a group listing that wants to give us a grant for food. We're pretty much set for clothing right now. We were lucky. We got a clothing grant in September. We only had 30 days to spend the money, but we bought boots, gloves, jeans, and we started giving us the bales of coat last year in March. We didn't hand any out. We saved them. They're all brand new. But we need to feed these people. Yeah. And that's my concern for the winter. I mean, we're pretty good on clothing, and I could say to someone, hey, I need jeans on Facebook, and the next thing I know, in Amazon or Walmart, hey, there's 10 pair of jeans.
Right.
The sizes I asked for. And we don't even know who's sending that stuff. We have some people that live over in Cumberland or York County. They just got us 10 pumpkin pies at Sam's Club and 4 or 5 cases of canned goods because we're doing Thanksgiving dinner and Christmas dinner. So This couple has brought us 10 pumpkin pies. They're huge, huge ones from Sam's. So, and someone else is going to do apples. Someone sent me $200 for turkeys. And before we ever buy it, we go in, and I'm sure every store manager says, oh, my gosh, Ann Sweeney's here again. Let's hide.
She's going to want a deal.
What do you mean it's 49 cents? No, I can't pay 49 cents a pound. What can we pay, And if anybody told me, Cindy, that I would leave corporate America 6 years ago and be doing this for home, now maybe rescuing puppies or something, yes. But if you told me that I'd be spending 50 hours a week sometime just helping our homeless, I would have laughed you out of Bangor, Cindy. I really would have. I just did not know. And this is why it's always an education to you, to whoever I talk to, the misconceptions that people have about homeless. One time Walmart gave us a deal. Those deals have stopped because of the inflation, but I was able to get 180 backpacks at a ridiculous low price, and it filled up 6 carts, and so they had to scan each one individually. So it took a while to check out. Guy comes up to me and says, oh, you're a teacher? I says, no, and I explain what we did. He says, you're wasting your money. Those folks are useless, lazy, and bums. And Ken's like, no, you're not going. I said, yeah, I got to go after her. He said, no, you're not. Because I could show them people right now who's rolled up their tent, and they're probably prepping a salad at one of the big restaurants.
Yeah.
Or if there was a concert in town tonight, they are finding a place where they can iron their uniform to escort you to your seat.
Yeah.
I have met a person that was the head of HR with his children in a rundown camper because he was afraid to tell his employer that he needed help. He was head of HR. I said, but Billy Bob, you can get this and you can get this and apply for family. I says, I can't do it, Ann. Fish can. But these people are working and they're struggling. His story was his wife had cleared out the account, took off with her friend, and he had nothing. So you never know who is serving you that salad or that cup of coffee. We need so much more empathy, and especially we have to start thinking, again, I can't say enough as we start the conversation. Our homeless are human. The city's aware of this. I feel bad for the city of Bangor. They've been dumped with a huge mess, and everybody says, not in my backyard. But we need to get our homeless hope back.
Find more information about how you can help on the Hope for Homeless Facebook page. I'm Cindy Campbell. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and stay healthy.
Join us again next weekend for Maine Concerns with your Town Square Media News team.